2012, Montreal, Canada. A fame-hungry social media star named Luka Magnotta produces the online video of a lifetime.
It's not often that we see homicides that are put forward throughout the media or throughout the internet for everybody to see.
The inspiration behind this grisly internet killing, the erotic thriller, Basic Instinct.
I think that what made Basic Instinct great is that everybody loves a good thriller.
Luka Magnotta is a mysterious copycat killer destined for international infamy.
Just like Sharon Stone's character in Basic Instinct, he wanted to be able to manipulate people like that character. He wanted people to believe that he was capable of killing. He wanted people to believe anything that was horrible, he was capable of, if that meant fame.
He enjoyed the limelight.
He could be a star of the internet, and I think that's what he was aiming at when he did what he did.
The more popularity Luka gains, the more attention he craves.
He idolized Sharon Stone's portrayal of Catherine Trammell, and he's reinventing himself in her image.
This is an individual who can't control his impulses. So he needs protection from himself. And society needs protection from him.
It's the million-dollar question. What would you do for fame?
This was an individual who would do anything, which includes murder.
In the internet age, everyone is one click away from becoming famous.
Hey, what's up to all my fans?
Fame can be like a drug because it's something people crave, and it can have very intoxicating results.
Make sure you take a look at the next video I'm gonna produce.
The more you crave, the stronger your appetite.
It really means a lot that you leave me so many kind comments.
And 29-year-old Luka Magnotta is starving.
He equated fame with power.
This is gonna make me famous.
So he felt if he could be famous, he could, in his mind, control the world.
It's a one-of-a-kind copycat crime for prosecutor Louis Boutier and detective Michel Bourque.
I think I must have watched that movie 4 times, you know? And when I had the screwdriver in the courtroom, I looked at it and it was obviously painted in order to resemble the one in Basic Instinct.
Myself, I've never seen so much media attention really on a case, and this is worldwide.
Before Luka Magnotta shocks the internet and the world with his heinous copycat crime, he went by the name Eric Newman.
He had a rough childhood, a difficult childhood. His mother and father were very young when they had him.
He had a chronic search for love. He was asking for love, attention, admiration.
Luka's father suffers from paranoia and is described as a man who constantly terrorizes the family.
He was raised by a father who suffered from schizophrenia.
He was having active delusions and hallucinations in front of the children. That in itself can create a very, very emotionally unstable household.
Because of her husband's illness, Luka's mother controls everything and everyone in the home.
The mother clearly dominated that household. She was able to have the children homeschooled because she didn't believe the school was a safe environment.
According to Luka and his sister, their mother has a bizarre obsession.
She seemed to be fanatical about being clean. And it obviously had something to do with her. And she wanted her kids, her children, to be known as being clean and not part of the dirty, filthy world. It was almost like a fetish with her.
It's a mess.
Luka claims his mother is a strict authoritarian who takes her stress out on her children.
How she disciplined the kids is bordering on cruel.
Get out.
But it's cold.
She would throw them out of the house,
Mom, stop.
Get out.
lock the doors.
Mom.
She would lock them out as if they no longer belonged to the family. They'd have to face the elements of the cold climate. It's an incredibly bordering on sadistic thing to do to children. Makes them feel that their security is not permanent. That if they do one thing, that will cost them her love and the support of the family.
Eventually, the chaos inside Luka's household is too much to bear, and his parents divorce. He is sent away from his family.
He went to go live with his grandmother. His grandmother was more loving.
Luka hopes the move will be a fresh start, but things only get worse. For the first time in his life, he isn't homeschooled. Fitting in becomes an uphill battle for Luka.
Well, school wasn't a safe and inviting place for him. There seemed to be indications that he had effeminate characteristics. And again, within the public school system, there's no protection from that. And it's certainly not a tolerant environment. So he was bullied and picked on for how he acted. In school, boys can become a target very quickly.
While living with his grandmother, Luka's identity crisis permeates.
You have a child who needs help, who's in crisis, but no help is coming. No one cares.
After his sister comes to visit him one weekend,
Hey.
Luka's obsession with beauty is put on full display.
It looks really nice.
When he went to go live with his grandmother, that appeared to be a more supportive environment because the grandmother was more loving, but she disapproved of his effeminate mannerisms.
Can I try that?
No. Lipstick's for girls.
You have a child here who's being picked on and bullied and has no friends. So what does he do? The way to cope is to be in isolation.
In the privacy of his own room, Luka can be whoever he wants to be, without judgment from the outside world.
It wasn't just the school that teased him and bullied him. When he'd go home, his family would tease him and bully him. So where is the child? Where is the teenager to turn? You're getting picked on and bullied on both sides, and there's no escape. The only escape is fantasy.
This situation is like a scar for the troubled adolescent.
His mindset was, my desire is to be the most beautiful man in the world. Kind of a curious thought, because women are considered beautiful. Men are not usually considered beautiful. But that was his concept, that I want to be the most beautiful man in the world. In the very end, there's nothing more accepted in our society than beauty.
As Luka enters high school, he starts to idolize starlets like Marilyn Monroe and Sharon Stone, who embody the beauty he wants to achieve.
He loved the movie stars. He was infatuated with Marilyn Monroe and movie stars from the past.
He identified with Marilyn Monroe and Ava Gardner and Sharon Stone. They were universally thought of as being beautiful and had the ability to have massive amounts of love and attention directed to them by men. So there's a lot of power and attention and ultimately control that a child sees just based on physical beauty.
Luka believes he's meant for bigger and better, a Hollywood existence where he can be anyone besides himself.
You have a child who needs help, who's in crisis. He had a chronic search for love.
When the identity crisis gets worse, Luka attempts suicide. Twice. As a result, his grandmother takes him to a local psychiatrist.
He claimed he heard voices. He claimed he had delusions.
Mr. Magnotta was seen by psychiatrist.
But the main fact is that Mr. Magnotta had been diagnosed as suffering from schizophrenia from as early as 17 years old.
Luka is prescribed medication and admitted to a psychiatric group home.
His life was a life of being unstable, in conflict, and his paranoia was justified. People didn't like him. People did make fun of him. He wasn't accepted. He didn't belong.
Luka eventually drops out of high school and counseling and rents an apartment. There, he relies on Hollywood movies for companionship.
His favorite movie was Basic Instinct, and it starred Sharon Stone.
In Basic Instinct, Sharon Stone plays Catherine Trammell, a beautiful and mysterious suspect thrown into the middle of a murder investigation.
I thought that Catherine Trammell's character was very alluring. There was just something about the way that she moved and the way that she spoke to people. It was mysterious, and it was very attractive in an older, like Casablanca type way.
Her confidence, along with her beauty, leaves anyone who meets Catherine craving more.
Her character is successful, smart, very sexy, in charge, and I think that all of those things about her really drew audiences in.
Everything about Catherine Trammell is desirable, especially to Luka.
He clearly identified with certain women because of what they were able to attain. He saw himself in that film because he related to that character. That character was what he wanted to emulate.
So Luka decides to stop fantasizing about being Catherine Trammell and instead become her.
He thought by having plastic surgery, that would create this beautiful man.
Luka goes under the knife and gets cheek implants, a nose job, and multiple hair transplants.
It's really about the beauty and the control and the power that she exudes in that film. Copies the movements. He copies every aspect of that film.
Beauty is pain.
But like the thriller Basic Instinct, the more you desire Catherine Trammell, the closer you come to death.
When it comes to his new identity, murder is only the beginning of this horror story.
23-year-old Luka Magnotta has a brand new identity, and it's inspired by a movie.
Luka's favorite movie is Basic Instinct. He idolized Sharon Stone's character, and that was everything that he wanted to be.
After a rough childhood, including being diagnosed with schizophrenia, Luka is ready to reinvent himself. He begins by getting a series of plastic surgeries he believes will make him more beautiful.
Beauty is pain.
He was interested in changing his looks and to refine his nose and his eyelashes and his face in general and his body.
Hoping to become a celebrity, Luka starts taking beauty shots of himself.
This is our photographer.
Hey, how's it going?
Luka?
Luka Magnotta.
Everything in his life is centered around image, even his last name.
Close to his home in Ontario, there's a Magnotta winery. It's not a famous winery, but he saw that name on a billboard one day and liked the name and decided to change his name to Luka Rocco Magnotta.
So where are you from?
I'm from Canada, Montreal, but I've lived a lot of different places, a lot of different cities around the world.
I look at it as he's repackaging himself. And having an Italian name sounds erotic and mysterious. He wanted to change everything about himself because the real Luka wasn't working. Let's repackage ourselves, just like you are a movie star, and then set you before the public.
It's all part of a new and improved existence. A copycat version of Luka's favorite movie villain, the mysterious Catherine Trammell from Basic Instinct.
Luka loved that Catherine was sexy, fearless, and in control. Catherine teaches Luka that you can have whatever you want as long as you're willing to do what it takes.
After his makeover is complete, Luka is ready to reveal his new identity to the world. He auditions for a reality show called Cover Guy. The show follows 30 aspiring male models as they compete for cash prizes.
He wanted fame. He wanted to be acknowledged. He wanted notoriety. He wanted everything he could get that he felt that would make him famous.
The confidence Luka shows in his audition tape makes him feel like Catherine Trammell.
In his own way, Luka has this mysterious presence about him where you can't figure out if he's a psychopath or just a very interesting, alluring person.
Luka isn't cast in Cover Guy, so he's soon auditioning for another part. But again, he's rejected.
The bottom line was he didn't get it. That is a hard pill to swallow for someone who wants to be thought of as being universally beautiful.
Luka tries out for a few more shows, but each time ends with another rejection letter.
The goal was to get on television and to get on shows. He attempted that, and we have the proof of those audition tapes, but he didn't get on. So one door closes, and then another door opens. The goal is to gain attention.
Luka decides he doesn't need to be on television to be famous. He just needs to create a buzz surrounding his lifestyle, like Catherine Trammell in Basic Instinct.
Her character went against a lot of the norms that society has and certainly had back then.
In the movie's most famous scene, Catherine is brought into a room of male detectives and put on the spot.
Catherine knew that she was in control. It's a room full of men, and she figured out exactly how she was going to play everyone, and it seemed to work.
When the detectives question Catherine about her boyfriend's murder, she uses her body to throw them off track.
She does this uncrossing of her legs and then a crossover again, but she doesn't have on any underwear. At that point, I feel like she's taken the power. If it was on that side of the table, now it's on this side of the table.
Off-screen, Luka is dead set on mimicking Catherine's electrifying presence.
He liked the spotlight, he liked to be involved in TV shows, and the next best thing, I guess, for him was the internet.
He floods the internet with his name and image by creating over 70 profiles on Facebook and other social media outlets.
The profiles is another attempt to gain fame. It's another attempt to repackage, to point out to everyone else, look at me, I'm a sensation. I'm the most beautiful. You just don't know it yet.
Luka also creates fake profiles for people he calls his fans. The internet has given him the following that he always wanted.
Social media became another resource, and a resource that you could manipulate. So it was perfect for him. The goal is to scam the world into thinking that I'm the most beautiful.
With his online existence complete, Luka feels fulfilled.
If you keep telling the public, I'm the most beautiful and I'm very popular and everyone wants me, people are going to start to believe it. It's a belief that the public is very easily manipulated. So he's going on that logic.
Catherine Trammell in Basic Instinct desires attention as long as she remains in control.
When the film begins, we know that Catherine is beautiful, rich, successful, elusive.
But as the film unravels, viewers learn she's so much more.
We also learn that she is a very popular crime novelist. Catherine is trying to come up with the subject for her next crime novel, and she's always trying to up the stakes.
And now that Luka is making a name for himself, he's also ready to up the ante.
Luka thinks, if I cannot gain attention through television,
are you ready to die, kid?
I have to create that attention.
Hey, what's up to all my fans?
So he goes to the extreme.
He buys 2 kittens and proudly displays their pictures on all his social media accounts. And then he does the unthinkable.
He killed cats. All of this being filmed with Christmas carols playing in the background. I was obviously proud of them, of those videos.
He understands that that is a wrong thing to do, that killing an innocent cat is cruel and inhumane. The cats were just a pawn or tool to get to the people, because that was his goal, to gain the attention.
The videos hit the internet and cause an international uproar.
This is gonna make me famous.
Those videos, when put online, attracted a lot of scrutiny by animal-loving people and, humane societies across the United States and all over the world, really.
Thank you guys so much for watching all the videos that I make.
Like Catherine Trammell in Basic Instinct, Luka has turned the tables on everyone.
The goal is fame. This is what he wanted.
Keep an eye out for the next video.
And it was destructive. And it was manipulative.
Cheers. Absolutely.
He really would stop at nothing.
Luka Magnotta is determined to be as famous as his idol, Sharon Stone, from the thriller Basic Instinct. He gets plastic surgery to make himself more beautiful. And then he creates a name for himself on the internet.
He floods the internet with fake profiles talking about how beautiful he is and how he's so sought after. The purpose of his profiles is to say that this person is important and that everyone's talking about this person and showing the world what he knows, that I am somebody.
As his need for attention grows, Luka goes to the extreme. He violently kills his 2 pet cats and posts their death videos online.
Here's a man who wants attention now. He doesn't care if it's good, bad, or indifferent, but he wants that attention. So any way he can get it now has become his goal.
Thank you guys so much for watching all the videos that I make.
Like a predator stalking its prey, Luka is ready to strike again.
He gains a lot of attention from the cat killings. The fame has to continue, and you have to keep your name in the spotlight, so to speak. So that worked with the cats. Now he's gonna do a second one.
He gets 2 more kittens, hoping to make their deaths even more heinous by drowning one and feeding the other to a snake in an attempt to draw in a larger audience.
The point is to keep the viewer interested, to have the viewer see that these are loving, doting cats, and that he's capable of showing those fake emotions.
You want to die now? Yeah?
They were hard to see, obviously. They were very graphic, but then again, there was this contradiction with the happy music in the background and Mr. Magnotta playing with the kitten and then killing the kitten.
As the videos go viral, Luka begins to travel the world, hoping to be recognized from his infamous web videos.
He was a big-time traveler. I mean, there were pictures of him in Moscow and different capitals of Europe and United States and in California, and he had been around.
In order to ensure his name stays in the press, he sends an anonymous tip to a newspaper called The Sun, telling them where he is.
The British journalist got a hold of the story and was made aware that Mr. Magnotta was living temporarily in London in a London hotel.
Luka Magnotta?
The journalist decides to meet with Luka in person after receiving the message.
And he asked questions of Mr. Magnotta about the cat killing videos, and obviously Mr. Magnotta denied making them.
He puts his name out because he wants to take credit without deliberately taking credit for it. But again, it gets people talking. It's very manipulative. It's credit without consequences.
Are you aware that the police are investigating this?
No comment.
During the interview, it's clear the journalist has the upper hand. Something Luka doesn't expect.
Hey, get that camera out of my face.
He's not this brilliant person. When faced with opposition, the press can be very manipulative too, and the press can ask very pointed questions. This is something new for him. Seldom is he questioned.
I'm done talking to you.
Mr. Magnotta.
Similar to Catherine Trammell in Basic Instinct, Luka wants to control the situation. So 2 days after the interview, he uses an alias to send the Sun newspaper a threatening email.
Mr. Magnotta wrote to that journalist and admitted that he was the one that filmed those cat videos, that edited those cat videos, and advised the journalist that he would be filming other videos in the future, and it would not be videos about cats or pussies like he wrote, but of human beings being killed. Mr. Magnotta was announcing in advance a crime to come. Other killings would be coming, apart from the cat killings, human beings being killed.
The email provides for him what he's always wanted all along: continued attention.
Like Luka's idol in Basic Instinct, no one is sure what to make of his character.
When it comes to Catherine, because she is a successful novelist, she's an important woman in some circles. She's definitely in control. There's a mystery about her because she is so calm and collected.
Off-screen, Luka knows if he wants to keep his name in lights, he'll have to copy his favorite movie.
Well, in the movie, her character appears to enjoy the fact that people think that she's capable of murder. And he related to that.
Make sure you take a look at the next video I'm going to produce. It's going to be starring some humans.
With a growing base of internet followers, Luka prepares to film one of the most gruesome videos of all time. He's going to call it One Lunatic, One Ice Pick, a direct nod to Basic Instinct.
He used a common screwdriver, but he painted the screwdriver the same color as the ice pick appears in the movie Basic Instinct.
In the movie, Catherine is the prime suspect in a series of unsolved murders that all involve the same type of weapon.
Each of the victims in the film were gutted with an ice pick. It's a pretty violent act, and that was yet another one of the things that caught people, was the graphic nature of the crime.
Luka is looking to shock viewers with his latest film. He believes the more obscene he makes it, the more attention he'll receive. Detective Michel Bourque is assigned to investigate Luka Magnotta's bizarre case that is unfolding online.
So he was seeking attention, obviously. Now, there's a difference between seeking attention and committing a capital crime, but it's very hard to understand what led him really to that extent.
All he needs now is his first victim. So he invites a man over to his apartment for a cold drink.
Now, this individual that we see on the video are the only images that we have.
While Luka sets up his video camera, he invites the man into his home.
We see that this individual seems to be in good terms with Ms. Magnotta.
What the police think is that that person was probably someone from out of town, a good target for Mr. Magnotta, because that person would be harder to get to.
As Luka prepares to kill like Catherine in Basic Instinct, he can't help but feel exhilarated.
Cheers. Absolutely.
He feels he's filming a scene from his favorite movie, and that he is the star now.
Luka drugs his victim and, like Catherine does in the movie, ties him up so he can't escape.
The victim was lying flat on his back, in the nude, on the bed, and obviously drugged or deeply asleep. And Mr. Magnotta was straddling him, and he was touching him.
On the video, Luka teases his audience with his homemade ice pick and even pulls out an electric saw.
And then at that point, we see there is some movement. We can hear him speak out a bit. We don't understand exactly what he's saying, but he's moving around on the bed.
In the opening scene of Basic Instinct, Catherine's victim is her lover, a man who is alive and fornicating with her on a bed when she attacks him.
Right off the bat, Basic Instinct has a very graphic sex scene, And it is one of the things that people speak about most often whenever that film comes up. There was also an element of murder. It wasn't just about the sex, but both are taboo in our society. Catherine's lover is found murdered with an ice pick.
Now, Luka is copycatting the crime frame by frame.
He was copying the movie. This was a copycat killer. He saw the movie, and that's how he wanted to kill.
Luka Magnotta is preparing to star in the biggest role of his life. A known worshiper of the thriller Basic Instinct, Luka is inspired by Sharon Stone's character and her weapon of choice, an ice pick.
Luka loved that Catherine was sexy, fearless, and in control. He idolized Sharon Stone's character, and that was everything that he wanted to be.
So he decides to film his own movie called One Lunatic, One Ice Pick, which he hopes will bring him international fame and admiration.
He has an intense craving for fame. He created a name for himself on social media to create such a shock that involves him that he will then gain fame.
Make sure you take a look at the next video I'm going to produce. It's going to be starring some humans.
His goal is to gain attention. So once he achieves it, he's intoxicated.
Absolutely.
This is what he wants.
He selects a victim who he drugs and ties up before filming himself threatening the man with a homemade ice pick.
He's about to kill his first human victim so he can feel powerful and in control and famous.
But in a surprising turn of events, the next morning, the man from Luka's video is seen on a surveillance camera.
The first victim was seen leaving the apartment complex alive.
Obviously, he has signs that he's not in tip-top shape. He seems to stumble a bit. Those are signs that could prompt us to believe that he was drugged.
The man is never heard from again. He might have no idea how close he was to death.
The police tried very hard to find that person, to find out who he was, how he got involved with Mr. Magnotta, how the two of them met. They were never able to identify him.
Back inside, Luka is already hunting his next sufferer, and this time, he's determined to kill.
There's no empathy. He doesn't care about people. Someone dies, too bad. His goal is fame. People are objects.
Luka's next target is a 33-year-old Chinese student named Jun Lin.
This is my place.
Oh, very nice.
Mr. Lin was a young Chinese student who left China in order to come to Canada to learn English.
Thank you.
And to go to college. He was very social. He was gay. He was a perfect target for Magnotta in the sense that he was living by himself. His disappearance would not have been known for a few days.
Like Catherine Trammell in Basic Instinct, Luka seduces his victim.
The entire movie is just based off of a woman who is powerful and capable of getting away with murder, and we just watch as she does.
Luka drugs the man. He believes he's on the verge of achieving stardom.
For Luka, that spoke his language.
There, you stay right there.
That was his fantasy, and he wanted that film to be his reality.
On camera, Luka stabs Lin with his handcrafted ice pick, just like Sharon Stone does to her victims in Basic Instinct.
It's like he'd done that multiple times. That's what it looked like. He was very calm.
Over the course of the next few hours, Luka decapitates Lin. Then, he defiles Lin's body.
He filmed dismembering, and he actually filmed then the actual body parts in the fridge, on the table, in the bed. prior to putting them in garbage bags and disposing of them. He sexually assaulted the victim's torso, and he faked an act of sodomy with the actual torso while the head and limbs were missing.
After he's finished, Luka begins to clean up his messy crime scene, occasionally stopping to admire himself in the mirror.
He was looking at himself, and he was wearing a wig, and he was combing his hair.
After the killing, he still is fixated on his own self-image. He's an extremely vain man. He wants to look a certain way, and he wants to dress a certain way. So that never left him.
Over the course of the next few hours, Luka makes 16 trips past his building's security camera, all while wearing Lin's clothing.
Between 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning, we had the same individual going back and forth, throwing out garbage, but not in a very normal way. Not just like someone who just opens up the lid, throws it in the garbage can, you know, and just goes on his business. He was taking some steps really to either put some of these items really under others, sort of disguise, or just to hide them.
The laborious work makes Luka famished.
Right in the middle of the time that we know that there's dismemberment happening and him going back and forth, discarding evidence, discarding body parts, he did manage to, at one point, order a pizza and have pizza.
It's a product of a very sick mind. It would take a psychopath to do this.
Then, Luka quickly edits together his own real-life Basic Instinct. He combines footage from the man he let go and Lin's murder and uploads the video to multiple websites, calling it One Lunatic, One Ice Pick.
He posted it online that same day using a fake username, and the way he posted it online made it very difficult for any viewer to know where it came from.
Luka packs a suitcase and writes a message inside his closet.
He writes this cryptic message: if you don't like the reflection in the mirror, don't look. I don't care. His reality now is that film. That's exactly what he wanted, and now he's achieved it. So it would have been, at least in his own mind, an intoxicating feeling all his life. He wanted to be like that character, but also like Sharon Stone.
Before the police catch on, Luka takes a taxi to the airport and boards a flight to Paris. He hopes that when he lands, everyone will have seen One Lunatic, One Ice Pick, and he'll be the most famous man in the world.
It's all part of the plan. This is what he wanted.
Throughout the film Basic Instinct, viewers are taken on a psychological ride as they try to figure out if Catherine Trammell is indeed the ice pick killer. Off-screen, Luka Magnotta has killed college student Jun Lin with a homemade ice pick, mimicking his favorite movie.
Catherine teaches Luka that you can have whatever you want as long as you're willing to do what it takes.
After cleaning up the murder and posting a video of it online, Luka flees the scene.
About 24 hours after the murder, he flies to Paris.
He kills and he leaves. He escapes. He believes that will only increase his fame because the whole world will be looking for him then.
In Paris, Luka pays homage to Basic Instinct by checking into a hotel under the name Kirk Trammell.
He didn't need to use that name. He could have used any name. He's obsessed with Catherine Trammell. The association and the obsession was that deep that that was probably the only name that he ever considered.
Back in Canada, authorities have seen Luka's horrific video, One Lunatic, One Ice Pick, and have identified him as the one who posted it online. They search his apartment where they find pieces of Jun Lin's body in the trash.
We did find some body parts, some remaining body parts there. In the garbage bag, some of the tools that we see in the video, a small screwdriver that had been sort of, I believe, hand-painted in a silver type of color, and we found that as well in the garbage.
A background check on Luka unearths his significant internet presence, including his cat-killing videos and over 70 social media profiles.
Never seen such a social media presence before or since. He was unusual in that respect. Because criminals are usually very prudent people. They will not willingly give information about the crimes that they propose to go forward with.
Authorities immediately begin a worldwide manhunt for Luka.
Interpol was advised. All police agencies had the information, specifically in Europe, because we knew for a fact that he had landed in Paris. And at that time, there was a very, very wide police effort to arrest Mr. Magnotta.
But in the end, it's Luka's constant need for attention that takes him down for good. Just 11 days after his gruesome murder of Jun Lin, Luka is arrested.
His arrest took place in Berlin, and it was an internet cafe. Mr. Magnotta's chase had become very famous at that point around the world. And that internet cafe manager had seen the articles about Mr. Magnotta and recognized Mr. Magnotta when he entered the cafe.
As he's arrested, police notice he's online looking up news about himself.
Police found that at the time that he arrested him, he was watching news reports of the actual murder.
I think it's very, very telling that this whole time they were searching for him. He was searching for himself in the media. He wanted to see himself.
Luka's login name at the internet cafe? Catherine Trammell.
I think he thought he could get away with murder, which is obviously something that he wanted. He almost got away with murder, really.
Luka goes to trial, where his defense attorneys argue his schizophrenia is to blame for Lin's gruesome murder.
The defense psychiatrists were convinced that Mr. Magnotta did know right from wrong, and the Crown psychiatrist, on the other hand, was convinced that he did. He was unsure whether Mr. Magnotta had ever suffered from schizophrenia.
The prosecution's case was that his statement that he was a paranoid schizophrenic was absolutely a lie, that he had created in order to get disability checks when he was a teenager. He had grown up in a household where his father truly suffered from schizophrenia. He mimicked the behaviors that he saw in his father, the ultimate manipulation and scam.
Although in Basic Instinct, Sharon Stone's ice pick murders are never solved, Luka Magnotta is not so cunning.
He was charged with the most serious crime here in Canada, first-degree murder, and he was sentenced to life without parole for 25 years. Our case was that although Mr. Magnotta was ill, his illness did not prevent him from knowing right from wrong.
In the end, Luka's rise to fame is extinguished.
It's not that he had an ongoing desire to kill. The killing came because that was the best way he thought he could then gain fame. He is a dead soul inside. There's nothing in there that is human. It's just superficial, shallow facade.
Obviously, this case is probably one of the hardest cases that we had to work with for multiple reasons. To the effect that it was publicly known, publicly sent out, that again, there's still images that are out there on the internet, very troubling, very troubling.